This is Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter, and this is ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast. Hello and welcome to The Obsessive Viewer. We're a movie and TV podcast that covers a specific topic, whether it's genre, trope, movie, or show, each episode. You can find more of our work at obsessiveviewer.com/podcasts, and also follow us on Facebook and join the Facebook group at facebook.com/theobsessiveviewer. Also check out our live event, Shocktober in Irvington, which happens every October in Irvington, which is just east of downtown Indianapolis. You can find that at shocktoberinirvington.com. And, I think that about covers all the intro stuff. Episode sponsor, once again, is Horror Movie Yearbook. Check them out at HM Yearbook on Twitter and at horrormovieyearbook.com. And joining me today, making his triumphant return to the Obsessive Viewer podcast, you haven't been on the show since September, it's Mr. Robert Fekkes. Triumphant. Yes.
Hello. I'm glad to be back.
I am glad to have you back here. It has been a while, and I'm excited to talk about movies with you.
Yes. I enjoy movies.
Yes, it is. Would you say you're obsessive about them?
I am pretty obsessive about them.
Nice. Oh, I think I was listening to like an old episode that you were on, and I think I was trying really hard to pitch Letterboxd to you. And like you did for a second. I think you said like, oh, I might have to check that out. So just what's the update on that?
I didn't give a time frame, did I?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, then there you go.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
I will say though that here in the coming weeks, if you are on Letterboxd, we kind of hinted at this last time on the podcast, but if you're on Letterboxd, make sure you pay attention to the podcast, because we're going to have a kind of a nice little surprise kind of contest thing, because I think next week me and Tiny are going to do a Letterboxd Potpourri episode. Basically we're going to, I'll just go ahead and say it, we're going to be giving away a free pro membership to Letterboxd.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So basically what that entails is that if you are on Letterboxd, and you get a pro account, which was what me, Tiny, and Mike all have, you get access to all of your stats, and some extra features, but the stats are like the best thing in the world.
You are a man that loves his stats.
Yes. Let me just go ahead and just, promote this just real quick. Do you want to guess how many movies I've seen this year?
This year, I'm gonna say 225.
Oh, interesting. Nice. It's loading. I'm kind of stepping on the year in review episode that's going to come out in a couple months. 2018 is almost over. That's nuts.
I hate that whole thing.
Can
you believe it's November? Yes, because I lived 31 days in October. I am always irritated by it. It's going by the same.
I'm gonna set a remander to text you like as often as I can.
Can you believe it's on the way here? I had this exact same thought because I was listening to the radio and someone on the radio was like, "I can't believe it's November." I was like, "Jesus, why not?"
Wow. Well, it definitely ruffled some feathers there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, can you believe that it's November already though? To 291.
Oh wow, that's I'm killing.
Oh yeah.
My movie watching has slowed down last couple of months. For video game reasons.
Oh, so. Yes, we can talk about that because there's some cinematic stuff to that. Real quick though, just to further promote the stats feature on Letterboxd, do you want to take a stab at what my most watched genre is?
Romantic comedies.
Surprisingly, no.
Sci-fi.
Nope.
Oh. Midget porn.
No. Unfortunately, I don't track.
Sorry, little person porn. I don't want to offend anybody.
Romance movies is 39 films, so it's pretty low. But my highest one is comedy, actually. So it's
that's fair.
More broad.
Well, comedies are easy to watch too, and typically shorter than most movies.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I could see that.
Yep. So yeah, make sure you tune into the podcast next time when we do our Letterboxd Potpourri, and we will let you know how you can get into the drawing for a free pro membership that will get you stats and everything. That'll be in the next episode. So yeah, let's talk about some news because it's been a while. On the podcast, like it's been like. I feel like we've had like a month where we haven't had like a regular episode just because of Shocktober in Irvington and Heartland, and all that. Which, by the way, we totally missed you at Shocktober.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Not going to guilt you or
Stupid
anything.
work.
Yeah.
Stupid work.
Yeah, but fortunately, it is available on the podcast feed for your listening. And
I'm so behind on
Yeah.
podcasts, but I'll get back to it. Mm-hmm. You know, if next year I'm still working, I'll just quit my job.
Nice. I like that. I like that commitment.
Yeah.
And it is on the podcast record, so it's a verbal contract.
There you go. Yep.
But yeah, one thing I want to just mention before we get into the actual news and everything is that on the subject of Shocktober in Irvington, like I'm just so happy with our venue that we use, the Playground Production Studios. And I feel like that's evident in the recording because the sound quality is so good. And I was just kind of blown away by how nice it sounded. Because like the Irving was kind of echoey and
yeah, it was big, very open theater. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, so I'm very happy with that. So shout out to Adam at Playground Production Studios for facilitating another
successful
Shocktober.
It's a good word.
Mm-hmm. So Fekkes news. We'll get into the video game talk in just a second, but there are a couple of things I wanted to bring up. One is that I don't think we've really talked about this on the podcast, but James Gunn, Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I don't care.
Okay, interesting.
The first Suicide Squad was just such a letdown, and it does not look good for the DCEU right now. You know, they just postponed Wonder Woman back to 2020.
Didn't they?
I think right now a lot of the DCEU is going to bank on how well Aquaman does, and I'm really pulling for Aquaman. I really want it to be good.
The more I see the trailer, the more
I think it'll be fun. Yeah. I really hope it'll be fun. And if it's fun, Shazam looks fun. I think it could really bounce off one another. It's just it's being such a rough road right now, and
it really has.
Henry Cavill probably out as Superman now, and
Cavill.
What? Yeah, not Caviezel. That was Jesus.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I really wanted the DCEU to do well, and I'm still adamantly defending some of the movies in the DCEU. But as far as this goes, I don't care.
Interesting.
It sucks that James Gunn is not going to be involved in Guardians 3, which who knows if the Guardians 3 even is going to happen since, Kevin Feige came out last week and said, it's just kind of on hiatus and everyone that's on the project has been told to go ahead and pursue other projects. So, but it's whatever. Maybe I'll see it. Hopefully he brings a lot to it because I enjoy James Gunn as a director. So
I think I'm going to see it either way just because, but I think part of it is I don't know. I'll see it more so to be in support of James Gunn because I'm on record with just disagreeing with the whole firing thing, which I know that you had some thoughts about that.
It's not that I agree or disagree with it. It's just I get it.
Yeah.
So, it's terrible. James Gunn probably shouldn't have tweeted such, and I'm a dark humor guy, but you don't, whatever. We've had this conversation.
We have, yeah.
So,
I was going to try to make a really just terrible, tasteless joke to transition, but I can't.
Well, Disney would fire you.
Exactly.
So. 12 years later.
I've got events to run, so. But yeah, I'm more excited about it just to support James Gunn, and I think that, you're right, DCEU is banking on the hopeful success of Aquaman and Shazam, and it's so easy for us to just like be on the outside and be like, okay, they need to steer it, like do something. But like the more I think about it, it's like, okay, filmmaking is a kind of a committee kind of thing.
Sure.
So, and like there's so much business involved with it that maybe that's why it's stumbling so much, is that they don't have, I mean, they don't have Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige kind of made Marvel what it is. So they don't have that analog for DC.
Marvel's just, in general, Marvel I feel like is just more approachable to the masses, because DC is notoriously kind of darker anyway, which I'm all about. I love both DC Universe and Marvel Universe in the comic book realm, but Marvel's just more approachable for the casual viewer. So
yeah, it was interesting because one of my coworkers the other day sent me a message on our little inter-office messaging system, and it was like, "Hey, are you a fan of what was it, Yu-Gi-Oh or the DC universe?" And I was like, Yu-Gi-Oh, I never got into.
Does one have something to do with the other?
Well, I was like, I've read some DC comics and the movies, take or leave. And he's like, yeah, well, this is kind of random, but I just found out that the guy, one of the writers of Yu-Gi-Oh or something, and the guy who wrote for DC, who created Lobo, I don't know that character.
I think he's about to be one of the bad guys in the Krypton series. He's a bad guy in the DC universe.
Okay.
But I think he's about to be, if not already is, one of the main protagonists in antagonists in the Krypton series on Sci-Fi.
Interesting. Well, anyway, the guy who created him, like, his parents go to the same church as my coworker or something like that. So kind of random.
It's random.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was just weird brag on my part, I guess. I don't know.
Weird flex by Matt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I mean, I've said for years now, like I want DC to recover and be good. Like I want their movies to be good. And, I think it would be the idea of James Gunn going to Suicide Squad 2, which by the way, I hated seeing the headlines of that in the podcast episode titles and stuff, because it says like James Gunn's Suicide Squad 2. So it's like, James Gunn's like, make a better headline.
Right.
Like, cause you make
James Gunn needs to change his name.
Right. But yeah, I hope maybe this is something
he's a good filmmaker. He'll probably make it better. I mean, sure. I wasn't worried about James Gunn after Marvel.
Same here.
He's going to land on his feet. He's a good filmmaker. Someone's going to hire him. I was never worried for his career. To me, it's an odd choice for him to go straight into another comic book franchise.
Yeah. I kind of feel like part of it is maybe just a fuck you to Disney.
Maybe. Could be.
Oh, hey, I'm going to go here.
Maybe Dave Bautista's going to become the new Killer Croc. And
I love Dave Bautista.
Oh, I do too. You know what? I have my opinions on what happened, but Dave Bautista is not afraid to give his 2 cents.
And I love that. I mean, I can't. I say that not like I can't fault the other actors or anything, because they're actors.
Right. They all have to maintain a career.
Right.
And, so is Dave Bautista. Yeah. But, if Dave Bautista's acting career didn't pan out, he's always got wrestling to fall back on. And it turns out the guy can actually, I'm not saying he's Oscar worthy, but he's a competent actor.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, is that James Gunn took a chance and hired him for that. So it's just great to see he's defending his friend and he's not afraid to do it. Yeah. So I respect
Did you see him in Hotel Artemis?
I never saw Hotel
Man,
Artemis.
that was a lot of fun.
Nice.
I really enjoyed that movie, and he was a lot of fun in it. So.
Nice. Yeah, I missed that one.
Yep.
So switching gears, we'll get to the video game things in a moment, but how are you doing with A-List? How's that going?
A-List is going great still. The last 2 films I've watched one was The Sisters Brothers, was the last movie I did go see, and then before that was it was Halloween. And then before that, Bad Times at El Royale. So, nope, it's still working out great. Still loving it.
Same here.
I'm hoping to see Bohemian Rhapsody here in the coming days, and Overlord.
Pizza's attacking me. this is where what I usually say is, bite your daddy. And I scream it over and over again so my neighbors think I'm crazy.
They probably do, so.
Yeah. Anyway, so, I just saw The Old Man and the Gun today. Because, like, the problem with, like, Heartland and Shocktober is, like, now I'm at a deficit. I have movies I need to
You gotta make that money back.
I do. Well, I shouldn't say I'm at a deficit because I haven't crunched the numbers yet, but
on a deficit.
I'm still...
You're not at a deficit.
Yeah. I'm still definitely getting my money's worth, but there are movies that I want to see. Like, Kirsten and I are going to go see... A Star is Born, which, like, a running joke between me and Kirsten is that the music in the trailer is stuck in my head, specifically the moment where Lady Gaga is on stage and she's like,
yeah.
Like, the joke is that is on a continuous loop in my head day and night. So when I texted Kirsten, I was like, hey, do you want to see A Star is Born Sunday? So we're going to see that Sunday, and then, like...
It's incredible.
Yeah, I'm very excited. One thing, okay, small gripe. I've noticed, like, especially at, like, well, the Regal Theater is really the only theaters I go to anymore, but, time was when I worked at a United Artists Theater in high school.
Back in my day,
we would make sure to close the auditorium doors when the movie started, which I've noticed they don't do that anymore.
I've not noticed.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I've noticed because as I'm walking down the hall, I'm like catching like bits and pieces of audio from the movies that are screening in there, and like I'm getting kind of annoyed. Like, I mean,
you asked to speak to a manager?
No.
Okay.
But it was problematic for me because I don't remember what movie I was watching. Maybe it was The Oath. No, it was before that. A movie I was watching, like I could hear like mega blockbuster sounds from across the hall, like seeping into the auditorium that I'm in. I'm like, this is distracting. Like,
yeah, that's a bit much.
Yeah, like I actually got up and closed the doors, and like now that I'm kind of saying it out loud, I kind of wonder if maybe that's a corporate thing, to keep the doors open because of safety reasons.
Yeah, I could see that being a thing.
Yeah, but it's just it's bothersome to me. So
no, that's a valid gripe.
Yeah.
So. But no, you're gonna love Star is Born. It's fantastic.
I'm really excited. I've heard a little bit of mixed things here and there.
I got nothing mixed for you, man. I thought it all. First of all, I think Gaga deserves a nod.
That's oddly because I'm not a huge like Lady Gaga fan or anything.
I am an unabashed Lady Gaga fan.
Nice.
I love whatever. Fuck you all. I love her music, and I think she's an awesome person.
Are you goo for Gaga's music?
Stop it.
Goo. Okay.
No, I get what you're saying. Okay. I get. What I see what you did, but
are you a lady? I don't know. Yeah.
Did you just assume my gender?
No. What's your pronoun?
Okay.
Is it
Z?
Z. Okay. So Z Fekkes. That sounds like I'm intolerant. I have events to run.
We can joke about things, people. No. Relax.
Don't fire me, Disney, or any corporations I work for in the future. But yeah, where was I with that? We're seeing that, and then I'm gonna see Overlord. I still need to see First Man, as I'm
First. First Man was. I'm not gonna say it was great. It was to me, it was a pretty straightforward biopic, but it was good. Like, the performances are great. See,
the thing that I'm kind of going into First Man, the thing that I'm going into it with is, like, okay, this is Damien Chazelle, his third, like, major movie. I loved his first two. Like, I'm not gonna expect gold out of the third one. Like,
I think where it's strongest is during the space travel portions. It really gives you a sense, first of all, of the claustrophobic nature of it, and just it. Like, I saw it in IMAX, and if you miss that opportunity, that sucks, because while a biopic doesn't immediately blast, IMAX viewing,
right,
it does for the sequences with the space stuff, and it works out really well.
Nice. And then there are a bunch of other movies on my list. Yeah, Star is Born, Overlord. Oh, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Very excited for all of those. So the reason that you haven't been able to watch that many movies is video games.
Video games.
Yeah. What did you think of the Spiderman game?
And me and you had a couple conversations early in my playing as Spiderman. I ended up, I praised it when we talked, but I also had a couple of gripes. I thought it was very fetch questy, and which open world games typically have that issue. But the further I got into the game, the more it's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
The fighting sequences are great. The boss battles were a lot of fun. I will say this, I felt like there was a giant gap between boss battles before the end, and then you're like, all the boss battles.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
But yeah, it was a fantastic game, and I played the first downloadable content for it. Which
how is it?
It's very story based. It's good. It's good, but it's not wrapped up, so it looks like it's going to be extended,
like it's kind of serialized episode,
right?
Kind of thing.
So it was about 3 hours of gameplay out of it.
Nice,
which is not bad. Not bad for a DLC.
Yeah. Does it add more to like the collectibles and stuff?
No, not the collectibles. It brings back one of the challenge stuff, but it's not the same villain that's doing the challenge stuff.
Gotcha.
So I won't ruin who the new villain doing that is, but yeah. So I just recently completed the 100% for the game.
Nice. I'm at like 99% because I think there's some side quests I need to do.
Yeah, I went through and I had to finish doing all the random bad guy crimes.
Yeah.
And that took a long time.
Yeah,
so.
That's a pain. Do you have to get like 3 stars or whatever on every challenge?
No. Just completing everything.
Good.
So it'll tell you have 5, what's the name of that security corporation?
Sable.
Sable, yeah. There's like 5 Sable crimes you have to do, 5 broken out prisoner crimes you have to do, 5 demon. So each one, even after you beat the game, you go to each little sector there, and you'll hear the radio transmissions like Sable units on the lookout for Spider-Man.
Right.
And the J. Jonah Jameson stuff in that game is fantastic.
As a podcaster,
I am offended.
October was a bad month for podcasters and media. But I kind of felt like it was a little, I don't know, because my attachment to J. Jonah Jameson, what's the word I'm looking for? Like my association with him is J.K. Simmons
and Tobey Maguire ones,
which he's amazing in.
He is.
It's incredible.
Going back and watching those, that's the only enjoyable part of those movies for me.
Yeah. And the reason is like he's just so animated and comical in it, but I feel like the J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man the game is like it's a little weird having him be like an Alex Jones kind of.
Oh, see, I think it's perfect.
See, I think that part of it is just that I know that like, okay, there's a real life analog to this, and it's
like disturbing.
Idiots fucking eat up his shit. Like, not to get all,
politicized.
Political.
No, I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought
that's fair.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I heard that the DLC adds more.
It does.
That's cool. Like I warmed up to, like I enjoyed it, but it was like I was just like
whenever it'd come on, I would like find a perch and just sit and listen to his stuff. Nice. I thought it was great.
Nice. Yeah, I still wish that, and this is just my vanity, but in open world games like GTA or Spider-Man, I kind of wish that you could put your own custom soundtracks in. I know that Xbox used to.
Yeah, I was going to say, you used to be able to do that with Xbox and PlayStation for Grand Theft Auto. Mm. You could plug in like a MP3 player, and it would play through the radio when you're in a car. And in fact, I used to do it when I was in college.
Mm-hmm. You could do that with like one of the NHL games, I think. and I think like Grid or like one of like a street racing game or something. But I just want to do that because I just want to put my podcast on there. I just want to drive around San Andreas listening to the Obsessive Viewer.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway, yeah, Rockstar, if you're listening,
Yeah. Ideas.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. You should have a way to do that from your horse in Red Dead.
Exactly.
Just blaring music from the horse's ears.
Yes.
As their balls constrict in the snow and expand in the warmer areas. That's a thing.
Oh.
That's a thing. Like, they programmed the horse's testicles to fluctuate.
Oh, in the game?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were just talking about just like in general. Like, I thought you were just going, I don't know.
No. In the game, they programmed the horse's genitals to do that.
That's interesting.
It seems a little over the top, but yeah.
A little bit. What do you think of Red Dead so far, by the way?
Well, I haven't played as much as I would have hoped. My days off has been consumed by court, unfortunately.
Oh, that sucks. And having to come over and talk on a podcast.
Right, stupid.
Right.
But no, I'm loving. It's beautiful. I'm sure I'm going to end up loving the game absolutely. But I'm so early in it. I'm still doing missions where they're teaching you how to do things.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah.
I'm out of the mountains. I've just done a couple missions in the from the camp. So
okay. One thing that did, we don't have to harp on it too much because, movie and TV podcast.
Right.
But one thing that kind of surprised me was I didn't realize it was, I didn't realize when it took place.
That it was a prequel to Red Dead? Yeah.
Like, cause when John Marston pops up, like I remember seeing him in the trailer, but when he popped up, I was like,
you're supposed to be dead.
Right. Spoilers for Red Dead Redemption, but whatever. But I was like, wait, what was his son's name in it? Cause I was like thinking like, is it a sequel? And then, yeah, but it takes place like
Jack was his son's name.
Yeah. But it takes place like 14 years earlier or something.
I don't know, something like that.
But yeah, it's so much fun. I'm in a weird way, I'm really loving just murdering people. Like, it's kind of weird. Yeah.
Well, it's like GTA. That was always fun. Like, causing rampant destruction throughout the city.
Oh yeah.
Do you see though that its first weekend is the highest grossing medium in entertainment history?
Yeah. That
opening weekend, $975 million.
That is incredible.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yep.
Video games are here to stay, people.
Yep. Oh yeah. But they're not art. Rest in peace, Roger Ebert. But yeah, anyway, why don't we talk about the things that people are listening to us to talk about?
Absolutely.
Wanting us to talk about. So
the liberal agenda.
Yes. So, I've got nothing.
Yeah.
I actually started listening to an audiobook, the new book by Bob Woodward. Called
nice.
Fear, Trump in the White House. Very interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, we are talking about Bad Times at the El Royale today, which I just realized I did not mention earlier. So,
whatever.
Yeah, they know. They saw the episode title. So Bad Times at the El Royale. I'm going to read a plot description courtesy of IMDb. This movie was written and directed by Drew Goddard, which I should have said after I read the description. Circa 1968, several strangers, most with a secret to bury, meet by chance at Lake Tahoe's El Royale, a rundown hotel with a dark past. Over the course of one night, everyone will show their true colors before everything goes to hell. So, as I said, this movie was written and directed by Drew Goddard. Was this his... direction... Yeah, this is his follow-up, essentially, to Cabin in the Woods. That was his directorial debut. And he has written a bunch of other stuff.
I was going to say, didn't he write something that recently came out like a year ago?
I want to say he did. I, of course, love him from Lost. He adapted the screenplay for The Martian, screenplay for World War Z.
Oh,
of course. Of course, wrote Cabin in the Woods and the first Cloverfield. So he has a lot of credits that I enjoy. One of his writing credits is for The Sinister Six.
No.
As a brief aside, I recently listened, I use Pocket Casts for my podcasts, And I have a bunch down. Like I have like 300 unlistened episodes.
Jesus.
Yeah. So what I've been doing, like I was listening to a bunch of one podcast, like kind of going through, but like I was like, you know what? I have episodes from like 2013 from different podcasts.
Yeah, you can probably get rid of those.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I went to menu and then unplayed, and then it has it all in chronological order from when they were released. So I was like, play all. So I just listened to like 10 episodes from like 2013, 2014 from a variety of different podcasts. But the reason I bring this up is I've been listening to the Empire podcast. And they, I was listening to their review of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, along with their interviews with Avi Arand, or I'm probably butchering his name, and also Mark Webb. And it's so weirdly funny to hear them talk about how, like, yeah, well, we've got Sinister Six coming up. We've got Venom in the works. There's Amazing Spider-Man 3 and 4.
Yeah. Spider-Man Homecoming. Wait, what's that one? Right. I don't know.
And it's just kind of hilarious to go back and listen to that. But,
yeah, well.
Yeah. But anyway, Bad Times at the El Royale. Fekkes, what were your thoughts going into the movie? Of course, we'll do a non-spoiler review and then a spoiler review. But what were your expectations and what was your anticipation level for it?
I had very high expectations for this film because the trailer really hit me. It just looked like a movie tailored towards me. Nice. Just the concept, the actors involved, the setting, like it all looked great, and all the scenes in the trailers just looked like a lot of fun. I was super excited for this movie.
Nice. That's interesting because when I saw the trailers, I was like, this looks like it'll be fun. Like the cast is amazing. I like Drew Goddard. The subject and the plot looked like it would be fun. But every time I saw the trailer, I was like, I'm not going to be in a rush to see it, but I'm sure that when I see it, I'll like it. It was kind of like a weird, like, it was on my radar, but it was kind of like in the middle there. So I don't know. Yeah. So I saw it kind of playing catch up after Heartland. Yeah, and now we're reviewing it.
No, and that's how that goes.
Yes. So the cast, amazing cast.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like no one is a bad choice in this movie.
Oh yeah. There's Jeff Bridges who, God, like, after seeing Bad Times at the El Royale, I came home and like I played Red Dead Redemption 2, and I was like, I want Rockstar to like make like Red Dead Redemption 3 and have it be where you have two playable characters, kind of like how you had multiple playable characters in GTA 5.
Right.
But have one of them be voiced by Jeff Bridges and the other one be voiced by Kurt Russell. And like that would be like the perfect like Western kind of drawl and everything.
Two very iconic voices.
Oh yes. So yeah, just an incredible cast. Jeff Bridges, Dakota Johnson, who I loved her in that role.
Yeah, I've not really been exposed to her. I'd never obviously saw any of the 50 Shades movies.
Yeah,
and that's the only thing I really am aware that she was a part of. But she was great.
Yeah, she's a like fun side character in 21 Jump Street.
Hold on, who's she in 21 Jump Street?
She's one of the other like undercover, like the group of undercover people that kind of keep making fun of
man, yeah, must have just.
I mean, it's just a really small bit role. I'm trying to think of what else I like her in. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. She was in Black Mass, which kind of funny because
Whitey Bulger got murdered.
Yeah. Yeah. A
9-year-old man dies in prison. How? Gets butchered to death by a mob hitman. Yeah. Jesus.
Like it's kind of shitty. Like the first thing I thought was like, oh, maybe they'll make a good movie about his life now. Because I didn't really like Black Mass
was not terrible in my opinion. It wasn't memorable, but it was serviceable in my opinion.
Yeah, very Boston accent. I can't do a Boston accent.
No, you can't.
No. Dakota Johnson is also in the Suspiria remake, which is coming out this weekend. Do you have any interest in seeing that?
I haven't even seen a preview for it.
Really? Have you ever seen the original? Okay. I haven't seen the original. I've heard great things about it, but anyway, this isn't the Suspiria cast, but Dakota Johnson's in Bad Times at the El Royale, John Hamm, Chris Hemsworth, Nick Offerman in a brief role.
Yeah, super brief. I didn't even know that was him until
the whole time I'm sitting there. I'm like, is that Nick Offerman? I think that's Nick Offerman.
I didn't even notice it until I
really?
go back and I was reading something. And I was like, who is Nick Offerman in that movie?
Right. Also, shout out to Shea Wiggum. He's in it. He was the doctor in the movie.
Oh, okay.
In the flashback. Yeah, he was from Boardwalk Empire. He's a really good character actor, kind of an indie mainstay. Yeah. So anyway, Bad Times with the El Royale. So did it live up to your expectations? How did you feel about the movie in broad terms?
I will say this: it was going to be hard for it to live up to my expectations. Just I don't know why I had such high expectations for it, but it almost did.
Nice.
Like I had a lot of fun with this movie. I thought it was exactly the type of movie I typically enjoy. Everyone did a great job in it. I love the twists, the turns, and I will say this: for a movie that was almost 2.5 hours long, did not feel like it.
Yeah, it does have that kind of momentum to it that is something that I really like in movies that are super lengthy.
Right. I've like the dialogue scenes were just very well done, and a lot of people like to keep throwing around like it's very Tarantino-esque. I was like, it kind of is, but I think it has its own voice.
It does.
And own tone. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh man, it's so Tarantino." I was like, I can see where you might make that comparison, but I don't. Like, I didn't get an overwhelming feeling of this is Tarantino.
I think that the kind of Tarantino comparisons, I haven't heard any comparisons, but I can see people saying oh, it's very Tarantino in that the dialogue is so confident and the snappiness of it is so.
But Tarantino didn't invent that sort of dialogue anyway.
But I mean, it's just a rapid fire kind of thing. But you're right; it does have its own voice. It's not like a Tarantino. I feel like it's a little reductive to call it like a Tarantino-like script.
Right? Yeah. I don't typically love comparison reviews like that. If something blatantly is apparently ripping something off, okay, I get that. But just because there's some similarities, I don't like. It's like, well, it's, Tarantino. It's like, well. This guy's got his own voice here, okay?
Right.
He's got his own style. And, Tarantino's very well known. He's one of those filmmakers that is very appealing to the masses and makes people think that they are, in fact, giant movie connoisseurs because they like Tarantino movies.
Honestly, I'm glad that you said it because that's a sentiment that I've had in my head for the longest time. Because Tarantino is very accessible, but he's kind of a edgy accessible.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And he came from an independent background, but still, he's a household name. Yeah. And I'm not taking anything away from Tarantino. I think he's an amazing filmmaker. But it's just people like to be like, "Oh, I'm so into films. I love Tarantino." I was like, "Okay, Tarantino's great, but he's not." He's not obscure, okay, guys? Let's not act like
pretty mainstream.
Right. You did not discover this low-key director, all right? He's out there.
Yeah. That's like people saying I like to read books. I'm such a nerd.
Yeah.
I'm
people, because you read a book?
Right.
Good.
Yeah.
Most people have since the first grade.
Right. Or they just listen to audiobooks. But anyway, so Bad Times at the El Royale. Yeah. I want to compare it to the Cabin in the Woods. I did have some, we'll talk more in detail in spoilers, but kind of in broad strokes, I did have some complaints, I guess. I thought that it was clever. It is a very cleverly constructed film, and it has that kind of cocksure, confidence to it in the way that it presents its story. But I kind of feel like part of it, I kind of feel like the movie is almost hampered by that cleverness, like the narrative techniques that it uses. It's a nonlinear story, and you can kind of, or at least I could kind of see that Drew Goddard was kind of having fun with that in a way that felt, I don't want to say it was indulgent, but it kind of felt like he was, the way I put it in my Letterboxd review is that it was at times a little showboaty. And like, there's no, like, I don't have a problem with that, because if you have the chops, run with it. But I feel like the movie got kind of hampered as it went on, because there were moments where the plot stops to set up like the backstory of a character, and I kind of felt like that was a little uneven to me, because we're in the middle of like a big pivotal moment in the plot, but we have to cut back to a flashback of a character in their past so that we have the context for it. And it kind of felt like that was the trade-off, is that...
I get that.
Yeah. Like, it kind of felt like there was a trade-off.
I take it as taking a breath. You know, It's a big momentum moment. Okay, now breathe, because now we're gonna delve back a little bit, and then build the momentum up again. But I get that complaint. It's valid,
and it's kind of the same, like the way that you describe it just now, like that puts it into an interesting context for me, because it reminds me of those moments in The Cabin in the Woods where you have all the stuff going on, and then you cut back to Bradley Whitford and not John C. Reilly. It's a similar name. John C. McGinley. At like doing their thing, and like that was also like the breath and everything. Although in that sense, it worked a little better for me, because that was all like switching over to just straight comedy, and where this was like divulging backstories to the major characters that we've seen interacting with each other for the last hour. So that's where the kind of issue sprang up with me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But as far as, you said the director kind of having fun with his characters, I feel like, especially in a movie like this, that transfers over to the viewer, because when he's having fun with the movie, making these conversations, I feel like I'm having fun with it too. Like it's really transferable to the viewer, to me.
It's very entertaining to see. It's very if you're in it, if you're like if it's connecting with you, like it's a good like ride.
Yeah.
But I kind of also felt like the movie, and again we'll talk more in spoilers, but I kind of felt like the movie was lacking a little substance because of that. Like, there are some subplots that, like, each character has kind of an emotional arc and everything, but I kind of feel like part of the problem with not introducing them that fully or early enough, like, I didn't feel that emotional hook that the movie wanted me to feel with certain characters.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the character, at least to me, the characters that I feel like the movie was trying to get the viewer behind, I felt that attachment to the characters.
That's fair.
So, like, the singer, I really loved her character.
I think she was the best developed character.
I agree. And, of course, Jeff Bridges' character.
God. Yeah.
Of course, he could fucking play a potato, and I'd be like, Jesus Christ, he killed that. But, yeah, those two characters specifically, and, of course, they have their own connection in the movie itself, but I was really drawn to both of them. Yeah,
but like the kind of, what would you name him? Like not concierge? Well, maybe the guy, the bell. No,
I would call him the hotel attendant.
The hotel attendant. Yeah. Like his whole thing, like, because we don't get his backstory until like
we don't,
almost the end.
But I feel like it's appropriate. I thought it was appropriately shown at the right time, because he, without going into spoilers, there's something going on in his life, and you don't really think about it with the time frame of what it could be, but it really comes together.
It puts it into a certain context.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed how that kind of came, because that came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah. Me too.
So I appreciated it all the more for that.
I think at that point I was kind of, I wouldn't say checked out from his story, but like I was kind of, I didn't, when it's revealed like what his backstory is, I wasn't like blown away by it, because at that point it's damn near at the denouement of the movie.
Right.
Like I'm just kind of like, okay, well this has been fun. Like it didn't really resonate with me in a way. And then also, a couple other characters, like their backstory, it was kind of the pivotal, like emotional core of the movie. It was just kind of like, all right, cool for me. Like, I think I was more interested in Chris Hemsworth's performance than I was in the backstory.
God, he killed it.
Oh my God, he was great. And like, he is such a hypnotizing person. Like, him playing that role is very great.
It's appropriate. It's appropriate.
It's very appropriate.
No matter what Chris Hemsworth is in, you're drawn to him on the screen.
Absolutely.
No matter what. I mean, he's just got that magnetism, and it's amplified in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
By his character and what his character is.
And we talked about Drew Goddard having fun with the storytelling and everything. Chris Hemsworth looked like he was having a freaking blast.
Oh, absolutely.
Playing that role.
Yeah.
Like, and that, it's so fun to watch him be despicable and evil and horrible.
It's actually kind of, comparable to Johnny Depp when you first saw him in Pirates of the Caribbean. You could tell how much fun he is portraying this character. And Chris Hemsworth, man, as horrid of a human being as his character is, you just can't help but love him.
Oh, really? And that's kind of it's amazing. That's kind of the amazing thing about the movie, because fits his character so perfect.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the crux of a cult leader.
Right. Exactly.
So, I mean, that's why they are so successful in getting people to follow them, because they are magnetic. You can't take their eyes off them, and man, are they just likable.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's, I mean, he was amazing in it.
Yeah. But let's stop beating around the bush, and we'll go into spoilers here in a second. Overall, what did you think of the movie, and is it going to make a top 10 list or anything?
This year's, it's going to be weird creating my top 10 this year, because I've had a lot of ups and a lot of downs.
Because you're not on Letterboxd, so you don't have all the
fair. I don't know if it'll make top 10, but I loved it.
Nice.
So. It's just, and I'm not saying I don't know if it'll make the top 10 because I'm saying it was lacking in some. I just don't know what anything in my top 10 is going to be yet.
Sure.
So once I go back, it might. I think it's, at the very least, it'll probably hit honorable mentions. It's definitely one of the most fun movies I've seen this year.
Nice. So. And do you think that? Well, this is more of a non sequitur question, but do you think that the inclusion, having AMC A-list, has that increased the amount of movies you see?
It's absolutely increased the amount of movies I've seen, but it's also increased the amount of movies, bad movies I've seen.
Yeah.
So, and that's goes without saying. That's going to be kind of the case anyway. There's movies I'm like, well, I wouldn't pay to see that. And now I'm like, well, whatever. Give it a shot.
And,
I got 2 hours to kill.
Nice. I feel the same way. I feel that way pretty much every hour of the day.
I would have seen this movie without the A-list, without a doubt.
Nice. I honestly probably wouldn't have gotten around to it.
Oh man, no, I was chomping at the bit to see this one.
Nice. Well, that's cool. And I also just completely forgot a news item that I wanted to bring up. Screw it. I'll bring it up later, and we'll have that as a tag. But anyway, my overall thoughts was it was an enjoyable movie. Didn't really resonate with me on an emotional level, but it was so much fun, and the performances were such a blast. And even though it felt a little indulgent and a little showboaty in the cleverness department, when the nonlinear storytelling works, it works really well for me. And it does have little hints of you see the it's a nice evolution of Drew Goddard's style from The Cabin in the Woods, because it has some vague similarities in just terms of structure as Cabin in the Woods, but it's a completely different film, and it's interesting to see him kind of playing in his sandbox, but bringing in new sand. I'm kind of losing the analogy there, but while expanding it a little bit and not being like, okay, well, I made Cabin in the Woods in 2012. It's 2018. I better make another one.
Right.
It's just cool to see him branch out, and to see all the different actors in it playing off each other is really cool. But we'll go into a spoiler discussion for, I almost called it the Cabin in the Woods, for Bad Times at the El Royale. And, if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it and then come back and listen to us, or check the, show notes for the timestamps to skip over to Potpourri, which will be at the end of the spoiler discussion. So, we're gonna go into spoilers.
I've done horrible things. So's everybody. Shit happens. Get the whiskey.
All right, we are spoilers on for Bad Times at the El Royale. So, where should we begin with spoilers? The deaths?
John Hamm?
John Hamm, yes.
So did you get the feeling that it was kind of like a Psycho homage? Not in the manner that he's dead, but the fact that, he had this big actor and then he's killed off so early in the film.
Oh, that's interesting.
In a motel.
Yeah.
So
I had a motel with voyeuristic kind of thing.
So I kind of had that feeling with it, but I dug it. Like John Hamm's character, I thought was a lot of fun.
Oh, me too.
When I saw the preview, I had the impression that John Hamm actually worked at the hotel.
I kind of did too, a little bit.
Yeah, so I was surprised when he was there just as a guest.
Right.
But his introduction scene was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
He killed it in that part.
He was great, and like the kind of twist of him being
CIA
was cool, and like I love that as a way to mislead us, because I'm thinking like, he's going to be like the crux of the plot,
right?
And everything's going to revolve around that, and then no, he gets fucking yes. Yep. Very cool sequence. I really like that,
and I love the fact that you see that sequence from different perspectives.
Me too.
So that was a lot of fun.
That's where the nonlinear storytelling kind of really worked for me, was kind of seeing the different angles of that, and different perspectives on it. That was really cool. The kind, all the backstory stuff, like, more specifically, now that we're in spoilers, the backstory of the attendant. Let's talk about his. That comes at the end. Kind of a PTSD kind of thing. Like, I thought that was fine, but just like I said, it kind of came a little too late, and
maybe, but they introduce that he's obviously having issues. He's high on heroin in the back room. Right. So you kind of forget about it until the end, and you kind of see where it's all coming from. But, I find it very appropriate because PTSD is a big thing these days. It's more, it's more it's always been a thing, but today it's more recognized in, soldiers post-war. So I really appreciated that kind of, that concept.
Me, I did, like, kind of on in a broad level there, but like, I kind of think my, I guess, disconnect was that I was under the assumption, I think that's by design of the script, is that I was thinking that he's been integral to just horrible stuff that's gone on in the hotel over the years. And so I'm like anticipating his backstory to shed more light on what is going on at the hotel and like what the deal is with all of this stuff.
Well, I don't know. I feel like what's going on in the hotel. It's a factory of, blackmail.
Yeah.
So. And
I'm fine with that in retrospect, but in the moment I was kind of like thinking like, well, they're being very secretive of like, management wants this, and I've been responsible for horrible things. I'm thinking like, oh shit, we're gonna get like some really gruesome stuff about the hotel, and then
I don't know that would have fit the tone of the movie though.
Really?
Yeah, like horrifyingly grotesque things. Like,
well, yeah. Well, really, I just wanted to see someone fuck a wolf or cuddle with a wolf.
Didn't want to see. Didn't need to see that.
No, okay, well, don't check my Google search history after the movie, but that, and then really the biggest kind of disconnect for me was the emotional story of Dakota Johnson's character and her sister in the movie. I just didn't buy into that kind of emotional core because I was so distracted by all the kind of cleverness of the nonlinear storytelling and the style of the movie.
Really?
Yeah. Did you have an emotional connection with that storyline?
I don't know if I would say it was an emotional connection, but I thought I was very much invested in it. Like, and maybe it's just because I don't know. I'm huge into watching anything that has to do with cults, and
Right.
I love that kind of the tone of the big sister trying to protect the little sister after their whole lives doing the same thing, and now she's again fighting this man that is trying to do harm to her sister, and it's always Dakota Johnson's job to protect her. And no, I dug it. I dug it a lot.
Did they go into detail about what her sister did? Like what the murder that she did?
Well, you know,
Because full disclosure, I peed at one point in the movie, so I may have missed something.
so they allude to the murders, you know, throughout the film. You know, it's on the TV. They're talking about the murders in the Hollywood Hills.
Right.
So it's very Charlie Manson is what they're going for there. And so she's part of a cult that went and murdered a house full of people.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
you know, that's the violence that she partook in.
Okay. Gotcha. I was thinking that it was like something like, oh, she murdered like, you know, she murdered Liam Hemsworth. That's why. Okay, that makes sense. But Chris Hemsworth.
Whew, God
So
damn
much
it.
fun.
He's so good in that movie.
Oh yeah, and like we talked about
Abs of
Tarantino.
steel.
I know, like that little like dance that he does. Like I was like, that's kind of hypnotic. Like,
Right.
I'm, like you know what? All
right, Chris, you can have your way with me, buddy.
exactly. Okay, Thor. You know.
No, but God, he was just so fun to watch on screen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and he's menacing, but like the menacing, there's such a
Charmingly
balance.
menacing.
Yes, that's the perfect way to describe it. And like we talked about Tarantino, like this makes me interested and excited about Tarantino's next movie, the one about
The Manson killings.
stuff. But it's also like I kind of wish that Chris Hemsworth was doing that with Drew Goddard. Like I wish that they made like a Manson family movie or something.
I don't know if you've seen Charlie Manson, but he would not be a convincing looking Charlie Manson.
That's fair. That's who's playing Manson in.
I don't know. I'd have to
Tarantino's?
look. I know Caprio's in it. It's somebody.
Oh, yeah.
It's somebody well known.
It might be DiCaprio.
No,
Yeah,
DiCaprio's
yeah.
playing one of the detectives.
Oh, gotcha. What's the movie called?
It's Bad Times at the El Royale.
No. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Is it Hollywood?
It's Once Upon a Time something.
Yes, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Let's see. Margot Robbie's playing Sharon Tate. Well, really, I think this might be kind of what's the word I'm looking for? A moot point, because I don't think he's like a major character in the movie.
No, I think it's
Yeah. That's interesting. That's why it's interesting. This guy Damon Harriman is playing him in the movie, but what's interesting about it is that he is also he also played Charles Manson in Mindhunter, the Netflix show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is kind of interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, so Chris Hemsworth I thought was really good. I think the movie did a really good job of showing a variety of him being kind of crazy, like the whole betting on like picking red or black and everything. Like I like that they kind of tease that they're about to do it again, but then they go a completely different direction. I thought that was cool in terms of storytelling. What else can we say about it? Jeff Bridges?
So I really like his arc with his I guess Alzheimer's and
dementia or whichever. Yeah.
I really I thought that really hit home very well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the connection that he has with the singer, it was great.
That's one of the great things about the movie for me was the way that Drew Goddard, the way that he takes all of these wildly different characters and puts them in this situation where they are teaming up in surprising ways. They're interacting with each other in surprising ways. And it's not like, it's just cool because the arc, if you go from Jeff Bridges and the singer throughout the whole movie, like it's such an interesting, like, merry-go-round, I guess. Like it's a very
good dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
The meal they share, the conversation there is fantastic. Mm-hmm. And man, the part where she bashes him with the
so surprising,
so out of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
But I loved it. I was like, oh, like shit.
I saw the movie. What I've been doing this week is I will work all day and then after work go to the movie theater and see a movie. So like I'm sitting there like after 8 hours of just a long day, I'm just like on the fence about even seeing the movie. I was like watching and then like the moment when John Hamm gets killed and the moment with the bottle with Jeff Bridges, it was like, oh, that woke me up. That was
right.
Like I was kind of a little drowsy and then it was just like boom.
It was like a jump scare without being a jump scare.
Exactly.
It was just so well played.
Oh yeah. Very cool stuff. Yeah, what did you think of the hotel itself, the set and everything?
So it was fantastic. I love the idea of it, and apparently it's based on a real hotel around Lake Tahoe that was ran by the mob, pretty much.
Oh wow!
So it exists, and part of it's in California, part of it's in Nevada. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's still up and running, but it was very prominent back in like the 50s and the 60s. Wow. But I love the idea of it. I mean, I want to go stay at that hotel. I think it's fascinating.
Which side would you be on?
Do you even really have to ask?
I don't.
Yeah, Nevada.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I don't know. I don't know which side I'd be on.
Well, I'll be on the side of the alcohol and the gambling. So
sure.
Pretty straightforward there. I love the dynamic between Jeff Bridges and the attendant's character, with him trying to get reconciliation
absolution
from the father.
Yeah.
So I love it at the end where he just kind of I will play this role.
And I like that they kind of had their cake and ate it too, with having him reveal to or have it revealed to the attendant that like, hey, he's not a real priest. Like just the devastation on his face when he finds that out, and then in his final moments he gets that kind of absolution and everything. I thought that was a nice touch, a nice way to kind of have their cake and eat it too.
Sure.
Have their confession and Hail Mary it too. I don't know. Yeah,
it was definitely a Hail Mary play on their part. The scene with the roulette that I really enjoyed was the part where Chris Hemsworth makes her sing.
Yes.
And, she just gives this passionate, amazing song. And at the very end, he's just like, heard better.
I've heard better.
And it's just
so
like
cold.
So devastating.
Oh, yeah.
But, perfect.
Oh, yeah.
It was so perfect.
So great. Chris Hemsworth, just again, to circle back and talk about
it's like not enough good things can be said about his performance in that movie.
The more that I like his career, just in general, is like, it's so cool. Like that's the best way I can describe it. Like everything he's done has been really good, even in movies that aren't that good. Like I've referenced it on the podcast before, but his role in the Vacation remake,
it was funny.
It was so funny. It was the stand.
That was a terrible movie, but
terrible movie.
And he's legitimately a nice guy.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Like I've had a buddy that was his security escort for the 500 this year, and he said that he was just super awesome the entire time.
Nice.
Very, very approachable. Will talk to you. He actually took Chip is the one that.
Nice.
So he took Chip's phone and recorded a message to Chip's wife on Chip's phone.
That's so awesome.
And it's just super cool, like shit like that. And Chip said that he was just doing that kind of shit the entire day.
God,
and
that's awesome.
Went out of your way to make sure that he, Chip's a security escort,
right? But
he's going up and say, hey, you need something this, and he just said he's a super nice guy.
Nice.
And I love hearing shit like that, especially about entertainers that I love.
Yeah.
So.
And like, I feel like Chris Hemsworth has, like, that puts him into a movie star kind of, like, he is a movie star and he has that, he seems like he has a hold on that celebrity really well. I like that. Like, I love hearing stories like that and like stuff about like Chris Pratt going and visiting kids in the hospital and stuff like that. Like, I love those types of stories because, it's nice to know that,
not everyone's a complete giant tool in the movie industry.
Right.
So,
and it's nice to know that if I ever meet Chris Hemsworth, he'd be probably willing to talk about the podcast and record like a little bumper on there.
You know what? He probably would.
I say that as a joke because I would be bugging him about it, but I think he would be game.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'd have to be a total dick and be like, "Hey Thor, why don't you dance for me?"
It's funny. He actually told he was talking to the security guys, and he won't give autographs to anyone that yells out, "Hey Thor!" But if you and my brother didn't really care for that, and he was like, "Well, he is Thor." It's like, no, but he's not Thor. He's Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
So I get it. You know, he is a human being. He is not our property. Where
exactly.
He's like, dance for us. You know, I get it. You know, he's done other things. Well, yes, he is very popular as Thor.
Right.
He's Chris Hemsworth.
Exactly. Like I was gonna make a stupid joke. Like if I'm walking down the street and people are yelling, "Hey, dumbass!" like I'm not gonna, but if they're like, "Hey, dumb shit," then yeah, maybe because that's my name.
Like if I'm walking down the street at work and it's like, "Officer, I've been robbed," I'm like, "I have a name, all right," and I just keep walking. Fuck them.
That's a much better joke. God, that's great.
No, but in reality, I will stop if you tell me you've been robbed.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. Good. For the record. We don't want you to be fired.
Right.
I don't want the obsessive viewer to be the
reason I am unemployed.
James Gunn. He needs to change his name. God damn it. God damn it. Anyway, anything else to talk about with it? The style was cool.
Style was great. I really enjoyed the character Dakota Johnson's sister. I really thought she did a really good job of being the whimsically naive, hypnotized cultist.
And they didn't. They committed to that. Like I was for sure thinking that at one point I thought that Dakota Johnson's character like they had like a plan and that they were going to lure him there.
Oh no, I was pretty confident she was still. Yeah.
See, I thought that was it, and then when he shoots Dakota Johnson, I was thinking like, oh, okay, well, she's probably going to like that's going to wake her up from the hypnosis and magnetism of the cult. But no, they just still ran with it. She's like crying when he gets shot in the head. I thought that was really cool.
Did you catch who the tape is of?
I didn't.
It's Bobby Kennedy. That's who they're alluding to it being Bobby Kennedy.
Okay, interesting. I thought it was like supposed to be a JFK thing, but
close.
Yeah,
close.
Interesting. Yeah. Did they really even go into detail about what it was, or did they allude?
I'm sure it was him having sex with somebody that he shouldn't be having sex with.
Right.
As the Kennedys are apt to do.
Right.
Speaking of, did you see
Chappaquiddick?
Yeah.
I didn't, but I heard kind of mixed to negative things.
I enjoyed it.
You really?
I did.
How was what's his name?
Jason Clarke?
What did it do? No, Office. Andy.
He did a really good job.
Oh, okay.
God damn it, what is his name?
Ed Helms.
Ed Helms, yeah. I thought he was probably the standout performance in
interesting.
the movie. Yeah. I thought it was a good movie.
Okay.
Like it wasn't the greatest movie in the world, but
sure.
I think it's a good telling of something that not a whole lot of people know about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Cause I don't know. It's basically he
drove drunk.
Yeah.
Ted Kennedy. Drove drunk into a river with a girl in the car and left her there to die. So
that's right. What I heard about that movie was that it seems a little too sympathetic toward the Kennedys.
I didn't get that.
Really?
I didn't.
Okay.
I really think it did a good job of kind of playing out that the patriarch of the family and Ted are kind of pieces of shit.
Okay.
So
nice.
But teach their own.
Cool. So overall thoughts again on
a great movie.
Bad Times at
I'll probably buy that.
Nice.
I think that's going to be one of those that I'll enjoy on repeat viewings. So
see, it's one of those movies that I kind of feel like I don't know. The farther I get away from it, the more I'm like, okay. Yeah, I mean, it was good. Stylistically, it was cool, but
what's
I just didn't have that emotional connection.
So coming out of First Man, I get a text from Peter, my brother. First Man, yeah, sorry. I get a text from Peter, my brother, and it said, "Well, I just got out of the worst movie I've ever seen in my life," and I was like, "What could it be?"
Oh,
and I was like, I didn't think First Man was bad. So I was like, well, what's it? He goes, Bad Times with El Royale. I was like,
wait, he said worst?
Yeah.
One of the worst?
One of the worst, but still, I was like I walked out of the movie, I was like, I I could see where somebody may not think it's great.
Sure.
But to such a harsh critique of it, I didn't get that at all.
That's weird because he saw The Dark Tower in the theater. So, I mean, his bar's got to be really low.
Right.
So,
yeah, I just thought that was like, whatever. I mean, to each his own.
Yeah.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
did
But
he
I
expand on like what his?
I haven't talked to him really about it. I was like,
I've disowned him.
whatever. No, I just thought it was really weird. Like such a harsh criticism of the movie. Like
that's interesting.
Like I feel like there's, even if you didn't love the movie, there's a lot to appreciate.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, but hey, whatever. To each his own.
Yeah, well, that's Bad Times at the El Royale, and yeah, I think we're gonna go into.
I had a good time at the El Royale.
My tweet when I checked into the movie was like, I hope I like this movie so I can say I had so I can refer to it as more like good times at the movie theater.
Yeah, it's very Matt Hurd joke.
Yeah, but yeah. It ended up being just okay times at the movie theater for me.
Well, fair enough.
So, yeah. But we're going to go into our Potpourri section, which is the section of the podcast where we talk about whatever we want, things we've watched lately, things we're looking forward to. Anything we want, as long as it smells good. That's the catchphrase of it. So it's Potpourri. And Fekkes, you have one thing you want to bring up?
I have a thing.
A thing. Okay. I'm going to bring up two since it's been a while. So we'll just sandwich yours in between it.
All right. I'll be the cream and Oreo.
Nice. That was weird. Okay. Yeah. When you get ice cream, do you like cookies and cream flavor?
It's okay.
Okay. Well, okay. Let me pitch you a scenario. You're going to Baskin Robbins. You have the opportunity.
That even exist anymore?
They do. There's one on the south side, actually.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough.
But you're going to an ice cream parlor.
Okay.
And you get ice cream that's cookies and cream. Does the inclusion of like your second flavor, it being lemon, does that sound good to you?
Lemon?
Yeah, lemon and cookies and cream.
That sounds awful.
Fuck everyone. No, Kirsten gave me shit about that because I got lemon and cookies and cream and it was delicious.
She was right to give you shit for that.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, hey, what to each their own.
Right,
so,
right.
But no, I would not think that
Okay.
combination would be satisfying.
Well, your homework and the listener's homework is to try it, It's November. It's already November, Fekkes.
It is already November. Yeah.
That didn't really fit it. Anyway, so my first potpourri is, what am I going to bring up? The Oath. So we were talking before the recording. You're not too familiar with The Oath.
I know it's Tiffany Haddish, who's apparently in every goddamn movie in the last 2 months.
It's her and Ike Barinholtz, who wrote and directed the movie as well. They play a husband and wife. It's set at Thanksgiving time. It's set during the week of Thanksgiving. They have Ike Barinholtz's family coming in to stay with them for the holiday. But this movie is has kind of a dark edge to it because in the world of, the movie, the president has instituted what's called a Patriot's Oath, where people sign this pledge saying that they implicitly trust the president and the country. And,
wait, have you not signed that pledge yet?
I have not.
I got to go make a phone call.
Okay. Anyway, so the movie is about a family gathering where this is going on in the world and how it's a comedy. Let me read the plot description because it's easy to get kind of muddled with that kind of thing.
Sounds kind of like the same type of fictionalized world like in Sorry to Bother You.
Yeah. Oh, totally. The plot description is, in a politically divided America, a man struggles to make it through the Thanksgiving holiday without destroying his family. A lot more brevity than what I did. So it's an interesting movie. The comedy didn't quite land with me. It's a very darkly comedic movie, and it takes the way that I put it on Letterboxd, which you can follow me at letterboxd.com/obsessiveviewer, is that it, about half of its runtime, it's a comedy. The other half, it's kind of a thriller.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's like it kind of plays with both ends of those spectrums, I guess. But when it's a comedy, it's not really quite that great of a comedy. When it's a thriller, it's not that great of a thriller. But like together, it's a pretty enjoyable semi-dystopian family Thanksgiving movie. It goes some interesting places, has some interesting supporting cast members, including, I think it's Ike Barinholtz's brother, John Barinholtz, who plays his actual brother in the movie, who also, liked my tweet when I
very
saw it.
good.
Yeah.
Good job, Mr. Barinholtz.
Right. So, it's a pretty enjoyable movie. I mean, it's probably out of theaters at this point, but, it's not a waste of time.
Tiffany Haddish has like 3 other movies coming out in December, so.
Right. But it's okay. Yeah, you might get enjoyment out of it. I thought it was just okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So what do you got for Potpourri?
So I am about 7 episodes through a 10-episode series called The Haunting of Hill House.
Nice.
And
I haven't started it yet, so.
So it is a show dedicated to a family, 5 siblings, 2 parents, that lived in this haunted house early on when the kids were little, and something horrific happens at the house, and basically it documents the children now grown and how they've all been affected by the haunting and how they're continuing to be haunted by the entity of Hill House. And it's kind of like a family drama wrapped in a horror movie.
Interesting.
And I'll tell you what, it works. The cast, first of all, the cast is great. Mm-hmm. Everyone, even the child actors, and I know Tiny,
right,
notoriously hates child actors. They actually all do a really good job.
Nice.
And TV series as a horror genre has not overwhelmingly been successful,
right,
in my opinion. But this does an amazing job of setting up atmosphere, especially within the house.
Nice.
Making that creepy feeling, just kind of like gnawing at the back of your neck type of deal. And they also have all these hidden ghosts within the show, too.
I've heard about that.
That's fun to sit there and try to scour the scenes through. And like the first 5 or 6 episodes kind of document or focus on just one of the characters and kind of how they've dealt with it and what's going on in their lives until it culminates to an event happening where the family comes together again.
Okay.
And so the last episode I watched was the second to last episode I watched was the episode where the family is actually coming together again for the first time since pretty much the incident happened. Okay. And I'm telling you what, that episode is one of the best episodes of the show for me that I've seen.
Nice.
First of all, it is, you almost think there's, like, it's an hour-long show. It makes you feel like there's 10 cuts in the whole episode.
Oh, really?
It is nothing but
awesome.
long shots, and they are so well done.
Very cool.
How they would have had to have done it is just it's amazing. Nice. Like they're switching out actors from child actors to the adult actors, and just
I saw like a behind the scenes video. Or no, that was for something else. Never mind. Sorry.
No, but it's mind boggling how they orchestrated it, and it's so well done. Nice. And the drama within the characters in this specific episode is, you really feel it. Like they do a really good job of showing that kind of family dynamic of a family that has just gone through some horrible shit. And
how would you say it compares to like Hereditary, which kind of seems like it, I've seen some comparisons.
I'd say it's a lot more effective than Hereditary.
It's also got longer forms.
Right. I can appreciate people's love for Hereditary. I was not one of the people that loved it. I thought it was decent, yet forgettable, in my opinion.
Okay.
I'm a minority. I know that. A lot of people really praised Hereditary. I think this is more successful in the tone. But
nice.
I'm really enjoying it. I really can't wait to finish it up. It's super good.
Awesome. I am looking forward to checking it out. Tiny has been watching it and is a huge fan. And I think if we can get the logistics nailed down. We may do a bonus episode
Nice.
reviewing it. So if you're available for that,
Yeah, well, let me know when.
totally invited. I still need to watch every episode. I'm planning on binging it hopefully this weekend, so we'll see. So that's The Haunting of Hill House. Also worth mentioning that Mike Flanagan is behind it, and he directed Gerald's Game, which I was a big fan of. You can hear my review of it on Tower Junkies. So to kind of round out Potpourri, today I saw The Old Man and the Gun, which it was kind of on the whim. It was kind of on a whim. Just the timing worked out, and I was like, you know what? I'm nearby a theater after work. I'll just go and watch it. Which I feel like next time I do that, I'm gonna have to like bring like a change of clothes to work or whatever.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Do you? See, I need to start doing. I've done it a few times, but
I do it. Obviously, it'd be weird for me to walk into the movie theater in my uniform. But like on Fridays and Saturdays or Thursdays, even for that matter, if there's a movie that I want to go see, I bring a change of clothes with me to work.
Nice.
And barring some unforeseen late run that I have to take, I change at work and then go straight to the theater.
Nice. That's what I need to do. Just imagine you going, you go into the theater in uniform, just being like, I need to
check security in there.
Check theater 12. It'll take about 2.5 hours, 15 minutes with trailers, about 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'll just need this quarantined, and hey, if you can give me a soda.
I'm gonna get the soda. Cook me one of the flatbread pizzas too.
Yeah.
Funny story. I went to the movie theater. I forget what I went to go see, but I was starving, and I was like, man, I gotta eat something. So I actually bought one of their flatbread pizzas at AMC.
Okay.
It was good.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really good.
Wow. I had some pretzel bites because same when I saw The Oath, because I was like right after work, I was like, oh, I'm starving. So yeah, pretzel bites were good too.
Yeah, good.
Nice.
Next week's episode, review of movie food.
Exactly. Oh, that would be an interesting.
No, it would not.
Yeah. Oh, I do have a funny story. When I went to the Art Craft and saw E.T., I got Reese's Pieces and popcorn. And then because I was like, okay, I got some popcorn. It's locally grown popcorn, like at the Art Craft. It's like it's a big thing. It's delicious popcorn. And I'm like, well, also it's E.T. I've got to get Reese's Pieces. So I put the Reese's Pieces in the popcorn and kind of ate it like that. By the time I got home, just like diarrhea so bad. So I don't recommend it.
Two food tips from Matt. One, cookies and cream, ice cream with lemon, delicious. Popcorn with Reese's Pieces give you volcanic diarrhea.
Volcanic, yes. That is I was going to make another. No, we don't need to talk about my bowel movements. That's for the obsessive poopcast. God damn it. Anyway, so The Old Man and the Gun.
Right, back to that.
So this is, I think it's supposed to be Robert Redford's supposedly last movie.
Yeah, I heard that too.
But I think he also
I think you recanted on that.
Walked that back a little bit, yeah. Based on the true story of Forrest Tucker and his audacious escape from San Quentin at the age of 70 to an unprecedented string of heists that confounded authorities and enchanted the public. It's getting a lot of praise. It's got Robert Redford, Casey Affleck, Sissy Spacek, Danny Glover, Tom Waits, oddly enough. But it was really hard for me to really get into this movie. The way that they kind of unravel the plot is kind of distractingly slow. Like the opening scene is Robert Redford, robbing a bank. It's very low key because his style is that he just goes and he's very charming and everything. Then he meets Sissy.
When they're just like, we'll give this to you.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Chris Hemsworth came to my bank, I'd be like, okay,
exactly,
sexy asshole,
right?
Just don't do this again. Yeah, right.
But yeah, so like it goes from that to him meeting Sissy Spacek just by chance, and then them having like kind of a romantic lunch, and then suddenly like he has like a crew of people that he's running with robbing the banks, and then it's everything is like kind of. every scene is kind of constructed like almost like a vignette. Like it's just kind of disconnected from everything.
Okay,
It wasn't as cohesive as I would have liked. Like the most charming and interesting part of the movie was the relationship between Robert Redford and Sissy Spacek, and they are like electric on screen. They're very charming. Their chemistry is incredible. They're both very talented performers. But then you get Casey Affleck, who is the detective who's searching for like on the hunt for Robert Redford, and it's kind of like at times the movie is kind of like a cat and mouse game, but they don't really develop the detective character that well at all. Like you get scenes with Casey Affleck's home life, but it doesn't really inform the like his desire to catch Robert Redford, and it's just everything is just kind of low key and just not that interesting. And then
does Robert Redford have an end game for his bank robberies?
No. It's just
that bothers me in and of itself, because if I'm a 76-year-old man, I escape from prison, the last thing I'm probably going to do, unless there's a legitimate reason I need to, is go and commit more crime.
Well, that's kind of like the main point of the movie, is that he has, I wouldn't even necessarily call it a compulsion, but he has like this, it's like the whole like do what you love thing. Like he just loves doing it, and it's like he has this urge, like that's when he's happy. And like it's interesting, but also I'm just like, okay, it's fine. It's a perfectly fine movie, but it just doesn't have that cohesive, like the storytelling is what was problematic to me, because it didn't really mesh well with it as a whole.
How's Casey Affleck?
Very, like it was like he was sleepwalking through the role.
Oh, that's because I'm a huge Casey Affleck fan. That's very disappointing.
Me too. And like, I think I have such a high opinion of his acting chops from Manchester by the Sea.
Sure.
But like here, it's just like he's walking through the thing, and mostly it's because his character doesn't have anything to do. Like he doesn't have, like there's scenes where like his wife, he talks about how he wants to be the one to catch him. And it's like, that makes sense, I guess, but it's also just like, he's telling us that he wants him to, that he wants to be the one to catch him, instead of them showing us why, or why he has that thing. Also, the movie does way too many, like, this is the city that we're in, and the date, and the time, like, time stamping it. It's almost like someone...
Like X-Files?
Yeah.
Check.
Well, that's the thing, like, and it's in big, bold, like, not quite like,
Civil War.
Not quite Civil War thing, but it's like, it's very, like, big on the screen. And it happens so frequently and randomly that it kind of feels like when they were writing the script, they put the timeline of everything that happened, because it's based on a true story.
Okay.
It's like they put the timeline, and then they're like, all right, well, let's just leave these little timeline things in the script. Let's include that in there so that they know. It's like, it doesn't resonate with the rest of the story. Also, the opening thing, this was really bizarre. Like the movie as a whole, the movie felt like it was cut very poorly. Like scenes going from one scene to the next don't really translate. And like I said, it's not a cohesive story. It's kind of like we're introduced to characters without giving background to the characters, and then we're introduced to more information about the characters while still not having background. We're just introduced to more characters. It's kind of confusing and gets a little, I wouldn't say convoluted, but it just gets kind of tiresome. But the weird thing was that the movie starts, it's a 20th Century Fox movie, so we get the 20th Century Fox fanfare, and then the first thing we see is just a, like, not title card, but like a card that, like a blue screen that just says, typed out, this also is mostly a true story. And I'm like, this also, like,
that's really weird.
It's like
phrasing.
Yeah, I felt like maybe did they have like a scene at the beginning of the movie that got cut and they just didn't edit the thing? It was really weird. Like I was kind of taken out of it at that moment.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Huh.
But yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, I'm on Letterboxd. I'm going to rate it 2 stars because I just didn't really like it.
I was curious about it.
Yeah.
I may not go out of my way to see it now.
Yeah,
That's a shame. I'm saddened to hear that Casey Affleck just kind of walks through the role because I have a high regard for his acting.
Right. Yeah, and me too. I mean, the movie, it's Robert Redford and Sissy Spacek's movie. For
sure. Yeah.
But like, oh God, it was frustrating because like you get pivotal moments in the story that just feel like they're going through, like they're literally just going through the timeline.
Right.
Like, oh, we see this major event happen, and I guess we're supposed to infer that the reason that it happens is because of this character decision, but we don't have any context for it because that's all we see of this pivotal moment is just him seeing another character, and we're supposed to infer like what that significance is.
I'd be interested to see the real story behind it, whether or not this 76-year-old man actually got out of prison and started robbing banks.
Yeah, 70.
70.
Yeah.
But there is a website, History versus Hollywood, that
nice.
Does a good job of like showing you what the characters actually look like, and this is what really happened as opposed to what happens in the movie.
Nice.
It's my go-to whenever I get out of one of the based on a true story films.
Or this also is based on a true story.
Right. Don't read up on Remember the Titans.
Oh God,
man, I'll break your heart. It's so untrue.
I'm gonna say something that I've said before on the podcast. I don't like the movie.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, it's. You know, we've had this conversation on the podcast before.
I haven't seen it in so long. Like it's always like I always enjoyed it.
It's the problem I have with it, but the reason I don't really like it is it's very Disney-fied and.
Yes, we have had this.
We did.
We've had this conversation.
Yeah.
Because I was about to give my retort. I was like, we've done this.
Right.
I know what I'm about to say.
Yep. So. So Interstellar. But the old man and the gun, I mean, you might like it. It's getting good reviews. I couldn't connect with it.
No,
and
fair.
It was a bummer. Also it was interesting because like I saw it, and it was on a whim, and like, I was like, I don't have, like, my tweet was kind of seeing the old man and the gun on a whim. All I really know about it is that Robert Redford's in it, and I know 2 additional things about it based on the title.
Was he in prison for his role in the Hydra takeover of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
He was not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, and when it started, I remembered like bits of the trailer, so I was like, oh yeah, he robs banks. But yeah, it was just kind of
Oh, fair enough.
Yep. But to kind of circle back to the start of this section, I'm gonna have to start bringing like a change of clothes to work because, like, I was sitting there, I was like, my feet are all like, I feel like I'm just gross from sitting and working all day, and it's just like, I was like, could I be the guy that like takes off his shoes to relax in the movie theater?
No, you are not to be that guy.
And I didn't. For the record, I did not. I thought about it a lot.
I'm glad you made the right decision.
Yeah. I did commit the cardinal sin of whipping out my phone and looking on IMDb and stuff during it, but it was a very, like, there were not that many people in the theater, and I was in the back row, and I had the brightness turned all the way down. I was the only one in the back row, so I was not disturbing anyone.
I almost had the theater to myself for the Sisters Brothers.
Oh, nice.
It was me and 2 other guys. But.
Wow. I almost had it to myself. Was it for The Oath? Yeah, The Oath. And it was funny because it was me and 1 other guy. And then I don't know, like, that guy was, I don't know if it was that guy, but there was one guy at Heartland who had a media pass that I think he liked one of my reviews on Letterboxd, so I followed him on Letterboxd. And then after I got out of The Oath, which I think it was like the only screening in Indianapolis, the only time, later I put it into Letterboxd and I looked, and he also reviewed it that day. So I don't know if it's the same person, but yeah. So anyway,
that's stalker number 2 for Matt Hurt.
Right? Oh God, don't summon her. Oh, that's that. Yeah, I almost forgot about that.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. That's just triggered. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of The Obsessive Viewer. I do remember that I mentioned that we were going to review Halloween and Mandy. That kind of got in the way because we couldn't get the logistics worked out with Mike and Tiny. So we'll review those later on at some point. But I think next week we're going to do the Letterboxd Potpourri, and then probably have Kirsten on for another episode in a couple weeks to talk about A Star Is Born. So that'll do it. Where can people find you online, Fekkes?
They can find me on Snapchat at Nerdster330 and Instagram at Nerdster330.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's good. And you don't really tweet that much.
I don't. You know, two things I don't do anymore. Facebook, one, because I can't deal with.
Oh, yeah.
I can't deal with it. I haven't been on Facebook. Like, I get on Facebook to check in, and every time I think I have a clever status to post, I'll post it. But I don't Facebook anymore. I think it's just so
divisive and it's all of these assholes that aren't taking the president's oath.
Well, it's just a sewer. You know, Facebook is a sewer, and I just don't like to walk through the sewer.
Right.
So I'm on Instagram. That's a lot of fun, and I Snapchat because I find myself funny.
Yes, you are very funny. You had one. It's the thing that I referenced in Shocktober in Irvington. So go back and listen to Shocktober in Irvington for that. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. And then real quick, I just wanted to bring up the news thing, and I'll put it as this
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I totally forgot to bring this up, but for news, the Boba Fett movie is officially dead.
Yeah.
Which, first of all, before I get into my hilarious tweet, how do you feel about The Mandalorian? Like this Disney show with
I'll
Jon
watch.
Favreau.
Are you kidding me? Jon Favreau directing a Star Wars property? I'll watch it.
Nice.
I can't wait for it.
Yeah.
I think like the first images I've seen are enticing, so I can't wait.
Yeah, and they also brought out, they also announced, like all the directors for it, like a list of directors that are going to be at the helm. And like, there's some very cool directors. Bryce Dallas Howard, I think, is going to direct.
That's random.
One. Yeah. Taika Waititi.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, that's the one I was really excited about. And some other ones, but those are the two that stand out.
Bryce Dallas Howard, huh?
Yeah. Oh. And, honestly, basically the plot summary, according to IMDb, is The Mandalorian is set after the fall of the Empire and before the emergence of the First Order. The series follows the travails of a lone gunfighter in the outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic. And, I've shat on Star Wars a lot. And after Solo, I mean, I'm kind of just like, okay, I'm never going to be a huge fan, but I'm intrigued by this. Like, it sounds like an interesting story.
It sounds like Firefly in the Star Wars universe.
Yes.
So
that could be
I'm all for it.
Oh yeah. But my tweet, how heartbroken are you that the Boba Fett movie is not happening?
I mean, I'm not heartbroken. I'm disappointed because I like Boba Fett and I know you take issue with the popularity of that character.
I really do. I don't get it at all. Like, he does nothing.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but
so tell me your hilarious tweet.
Yes, I'm just bringing it up now. Let's see. Okay, so the tweet was, "It's too bad the Boba Fett." Oh fuck.
And we're done.
Thanks for listening, guys. It's too bad the Boba Fett movie is officially canceled, but at least the news and rumors about the movie over the last few years were more interesting than anything the character's done in any of the movies.
Clever. I saw someone say something like, it looks like Kathleen Kennedy finished what the Sarlacc couldn't do. Which I thought that was funny.
I guess, yeah.
Funnier than your bullshit tweet.
Is it though? Because we don't know that he survived. Except in the expanded universe, we get the the stories of him, but that's not canon now. And
he survived.
No, he didn't, because he's a nothing character.
You're a nothing character. Yeah, that's right. I said it.
Well, all right. Anyway, so that's it. Thanks.
Bye, Boba.
Yeah. Wait, what'd you say?
I said bye, Boba.
Oh, okay. Yeah, bye. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Boba Fett. All right, that's enough. I'm not going to have a moment of silence for a fictional character that does nothing. All right, well, thanks so much for listening. I'll see you next time. Bye.
He's got a jetpack.
So did James Bond in one of the movies.
Thank you for listening to The Obsessive Viewer, presented by ObsessiveViewer.com. You can find more of our episodes at ovpodcast.com, and you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or anywhere else podcasts are found. If you'd like to support the show, the best and easiest way is to leave us a rating and a review on iTunes. More ratings and reviews means it'll be easier for people to find the show in the highly competitive film and TV podcast genre. It also provides us with valuable feedback on the show. If you'd like to donate to the podcast, you can make a one-time PayPal donation at obsessiveviewer.com/donate or become a patron at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer for recurring donations with different reward tiers. Every donation goes toward paying the fees to keep the podcast running and is greatly appreciated. For official Obsessive Viewer merch, including shirts, mugs, notebooks, phone cases, and more, visit our TeePublic store. You can also buy other great TeePublic designs in our store, and we'll get a small commission on the sale. You can find a link to the store in the show notes of this episode and at obsessiveviewer.com/donate. The Obsessive Viewer's theme song is An Eclipse of Events and is provided by Loudlike from their EP, Mistakes We Must Make. You can find that and more great music from them on iTunes, and like their Facebook page at facebook.com/loudlikemusic. Any and all feedback on the podcast is encouraged. We love to hear from you guys. You can contact us by emailing podcast@obsessiveviewer.com or by tweeting us at obsessiveviewer, at obsessivetiny, and at IamMikeWhite. You can also like us on Facebook and join the Facebook group at facebook.com/theobsessiveviewer, where you can take part in discussions and polls between episodes. For more podcast content, check out Anthology, Matt's solo podcast, where he's reviewing The Twilight Zone as a first-time viewer and exploring other classic and contemporary science fiction anthology TV shows. You can find Anthology at anthologypod.com and anywhere podcasts are found. For book lovers, you can check out our sister site at obsessivebooknerd.com for book reviews, author spotlights, and a general celebration of reading. Finally, if you're philosophically curious, check out Tiny's side project podcast, The Secular Perspective, which explores the concepts of faith, religion, and existence from the perspective of secular hosts Chad and Amanda. You can find that at thesecularperspective.com and subscribe to the podcast on the app of your choice. Once again, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.